to I Love This Thing So Fricking Much, a podcast about passion. My name is Sophie Katz, and today I am joined by Andy, the designer of the app CollaboWrite. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Hey, Sophie. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So here's how this works. Andy will have 3 minutes to talk about something that he loves. This can be a person, place, thing, concept, activity, anything he wants. Our only requirement is that he loves it wholeheartedly and wants to tell us why. Are you ready, Andy?
Let's do it.
All right, got my timer here. Now, what do you love so freaking much?
Well, obviously, the thing that I love so freaking much is my app design, CollaboWrite. But I think what that really stems down to is my love of storytelling. It's our oldest art form. It's what we've been doing on cave walls thousands of years ago. And all the things that we love, like movies, books, TV, it all stems down to a really good story. And so that made me think of the game that we all played at some point as a kid, the Pass the Story game, where someone starts a story and then passes it along to around a circle of friends, and they keep continuing it until they feel the story is complete. So I tried to think of some sort of a game that you could use on a mobile device where essentially you are playing the same game but remotely, because no one really unplugs anymore. Everyone's on their phones, and we don't really sit around and tell stories to each other. So I figured, what if we use mobile devices to do that? So how this app works is that first you're given a prompt, like once upon a time, and then as a jumping off point, you write your portion of the story, and then you send it to the next player, who then tells that portion of the story, and it goes around in just a circle of friends. Yeah, it's pretty much the basic concept right there. And I'll be also selling different prompt bundles for about $1.99, each one with a different genre. One like horror, fantasy, fairy tale, things like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the concept right there.
All right, we can move on to question and answer if you want. Yeah, thank you for telling us about CollaboWrite today.
Absolutely.
Could you give some examples of the kinds of prompts that you're designing into this app to inspire stories?
Yeah. One would be like on a dark and stormy night. Once Upon a Time is the classic one. I think that's under fantasy or fairy tale. Because how this is set up is that there's basic prompts, and then there's additional prompts that you can purchase. And it's really just for story inspiration, because I wanted this to be set up sort of like a party. It can be used as a party game if you want, or it can be used seriously by writers who want to actually collaborate and actually publish something. I would love to actually see this used in like classrooms and things like that.
How do you see it being used in the classroom?
For creative writing classes. That could be used for kids. Kids would love that. You could actually use that for more older classes, high school, college. It really depends on the assignment, but I think that creative writing courses could have a lot of fun with this.
Can you tell me a little more about the journey of creating this app?
It's really funny. I get my best ideas for some reason as I'm driving, and which can be very frustrating because I got to keep focused on the road and everything. And I actually know exactly where I was when I came up with this idea. I was actually driving from Massachusetts to Orlando. Well, actually, Massachusetts to DC, because I was actually staying with some family in the Virginia area, and then taking the train to Orlando after that. But I had a 6-hour drive. So I drove. So I'm driving through New York City, and I'm like I just got to New Jersey. And I'm actually listening to an audiobook as I'm driving. And so that just made me think, like, what if there was a way to tell a story over phones or mobile devices, like the Pass the Story game? And like it just kind of like grew from there. And so I had to pull into a rest stop in New Jersey. Like, this is like something I just had to write this down. Like, oh wow, I might actually be onto something here.
How long ago was this that you had the idea?
This was about 7 years ago. This is back in 2013. So it's been a while. I actually had to shelve the project for a while because of the cost. Because of the cost of the labor, it could be close to like $15,000-$20,000.
Can you talk a little more about what it's been like to, you said you were designing the app, but you have other people on your team who are creating it with you?
Yes, I'm actually using I'm working with a company called Crowdbotics. What the way that that's set up is I have a monthly subscription, and then I've been paying it off in phases. So I think it's about 12 phases total, and each one I just pay off as I go. So I had a whole set plan, and so I was finally able to raise the funds needed and find a really good development company. And actually, at the time, they actually didn't even exist when I came up with this idea. They actually were founded in 2016, so it actually worked out a little better this way, I think.
What's been your favorite thing about making the app? Are there any standout moments where it felt like it was all coming together?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I mean, this whole process has been just really exciting. I think the moment when they actually sent me a PDF file of all the screens and what it would actually look like on a phone was extremely surreal.
What do you hope that people who use this app will get out of it?
I'm hoping that they can, like I was mentioning earlier, I really hope that they can either have that choice of just playing it as a party game, but also really sitting down and writing something serious. I actually would love to see published works from this.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would love to see this actually really help writers get their works out there. And actually, one thing I forgot to mention about the app is that there will be a online catalog to publish your publish your stories publicly. So you'll be on the app itself. You can log into a catalog, so you'll post your story publicly, where you can actually comment and rate it, and then you'll get feedback from other users.
It sounds like you could really create a community here among the people who tell stories using CollaboWrite.
Yeah, actually, it's what's kind of risky about this whole thing is that when I was doing research on app marketing in general, all the books that I'm reading about marketing is they really say that if your idea is already taken, that's actually a good thing because that means there's a market for it.
Hmm.
I can't really find anything really like mine.
Oh.
And yeah, this might be a whole new concept actually, and it's such a simple concept, but the app itself, the development is a little complex. I mean, there's apps out there where it's like a choose your own adventure type thing, and then there's also like text conversations that you can read, but there's really nothing really comes close to mine though, which is a little risky, but it's also really exciting as well.
Have there been any other challenges you've come across in the process of designing CollaboWrite?
Most of the price. uh, that's why I had to basically hold off on the whole project. I did get help from my family, who's actually been very very supportive of the whole thing. And when doing a marketing research, I think the biggest mistake that most appreneurs, as they call them, is really they treat it as a hobby, and when it really should be treated as a small business. And that's how I'm looking at it going into it.
Andy, thank you so much for telling us about something you love today.
Absolutely, this was a blast.
And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in today. If you would like to learn more about CollaboWrite, you can find a link to their page in the episode description. The app is now available for Apple and Android devices. And don't forget to use the hashtag #LoveThisThingCast to tell us about the things you love. I Love This Thing So Fricking Much is a production of Through the Window Media. This episode was directed and edited by Sophie A. Katz. You can find us at Through the Window on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or Tumblr. That is THROU The Window at all those social media sites. Be good to yourself, be kind to each other, and you'll hear from us again soon.